Hey guys, what's up? It's Katy, and I am back making this little video to take all of the champs from 2018 and put them on a list of who I think is good and, you know, who not so much. Now, I know a lot of people won't agree with me, and some people will, and that's cool. These are just my opinions, and these are just how I feel that they are ranked from when they were released. So, who's the best and who's the worst of 2018. Now, you know, one disclaimer in this, Kabam has released a ton of really good champs this year. I mean, when I was going through my list, it was tough because there were a couple champs I felt were only completely useless. Only a couple. And I mean, there were so many good champs released this year. Some do have more positive than negative, and some have more negative than positive. So, you know, it's just my opinion on who out of these 26 champs is, you know, number one and who is number 26. I am not taking into consideration Gold Pool, so he's kind of, that shiny dildo's out of the window. So we're going to start in January based on order of when they were released and go down the list. Okay, so the first champ on the list is Sentry. Now, we were all super pumped about Sentry. He was the first champ, and we were like, oh man, we're going to get a good one in January because in the comics he's just awesome. And then, boy, oh boy, was he a dud. But he did get better. They did buff him, Kabam did buff him, and he does have some really good synergies with Void, Aegon, and the champ. So he's still kind of underwhelming though. He relies heavily on RNG, and it seems like it takes way too long, you know, to get him going. So I rank Sentry at number 21 out of 26. Okay, so the next champ that we have is Void, and you know, he's Sentry's counterpart. So, oh man, was he, and still is, an awesome champ. It's hard to believe he's only been in the game for less than a year. He's definitely one of the better champs that came out this year. He can get kills in so many scenarios. He's great for certain paths in war. He's super valuable in the variant quest, and I think he's got a lot of great utility. He's going to continue to be a good champ, and the one good thing about him too is he's not a difficult champ to play. So that definitely ranks him high on this list, and I rank him in at number 4. So the next champ that came out this year was Gladiator Hulk, and you know, he is a lot of fun to play. I have a lot of fun playing with him. I have him as a 6-star, and he was kind of the answer. He was kind of like a blade-sized answer almost to your mystic champs like Magic. You get that class advantage. He can regen. You know, he gets a stun. I mean, he is just awesome. He's kind of a lot like Void. He's great in the new variant quest. You know, and oh my gosh, I really like Void. He can handle a lot of unavoidable damage. He's just an all-around great character, and for me, that's why he came in at number 9. The next champ on our list is Killmonger, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for where I'm gonna put him, but he is another really good champ that Kabam has released so far. And I mean, with the exception of really Sentry thus far, Killmonger is really good, and so are the next couple champs on the list. But Killmonger, he's got a ton of utility. He can be used on offense, he can be used on defense. You know, he can survive a special 3. He can go unstoppable. He's got True Strike. He's just got a lot of utility, and there are a lot of scenarios where he completely shines. He's got a great synergy with Void and Sabretooth, and he's a great counter to a lot of champs. So, you know, but I know this is where I'm gonna catch some flack because I do have to place him a little low on the list, and I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with me, but I am placing him at number 11. Another great character is that big robot himself, Sentinel. Now, this character, he is pretty good on defense. I will give you that. And I know a lot of people have actually found other great uses for him on offense, and some people have even used him for questing, for alliance quests. He's a great counter to a lot of mutant champs. He's got double immunities. So, you know, that makes him good. However, a lot of people have really figured out how to fight him and everything. So, it's why he's not as quite as high on the list as what I would like him, but he's placed right above Killmonger at number 12. Oh, and now we had a lot of really good champs, and now we've got one that kinda fell right in the trash, and that is Bishop. Now, you know, he's got a lot of good pros. I think his animations look really cool, and that's about all I got. I understand Kabam brought him in as like an energy manipulation champ, but I think they fell kind of short. You really got to build up his charges in order to get the damage, because otherwise his damage is just really underwhelming. I think if they could have done more with his energy absorption, he might be better, but unfortunately, this lays him falling flat as the worst champ of 2018 at number 26, and that's really unfortunate. But, you know, it happens. It happens. And it's not that he's a bad champ. He's not. There's just a lot better. Alright, from Bishop, we move on to Sabretooth. And when he first came out, people saw a defensive god. But he's been in the contest for a while, and a lot of people are finding a lot more offensive uses for him. He's got a tremendous synergy with Void and Killmonger. It's like a counter to the Holy Trinity, let's face it. You find him sometimes on defensive nodes on the Enhanced Generation. He is, however, a damage ramp-up champ, and that's what kind of makes him fall a little bit lower on my list than some of the others, but he is still a really good champ. He does a ton of damage, especially with the charges that he can get once you ramp him up. Overall, he's a really good character, and in unique situations, he shines, and that is why he's at rank 18, and I feel like that's a good spot for him. Alright, so with the release of Infinity War came the release of Proxima Midnight, and you know, when she first came out, she was kind of another one of these characters that people really had to learn how to use, and once people figured her out and got through her missions, it turned out she's pretty darn good. She can do a ton of damage, especially over long fights. You know, if you got time to go through her missions and you can get through her missions, she's definitely a great character. I didn't really appreciate her so much until I got her as a 6-star. She's got a great synergy with Corvus, of course, and Nebula too. So once, you know, I learned her, I put her in at spot number 17, right under Sabretooth. Now, since we talked about procs, how can we forget about Corvus? Really, he doesn't need any introduction. Everybody knows Corvus is the man of the game. Is he number 1 though? I mean, he has so much utility. He's not great with Labyrinth of Legends, because once you lose those glaive charges, he's pretty much useless. But in war and quests, he can do a ton of damage, and you know, he's pretty much shock and bleed immune. He can cut through a lot of opponents. He does a ton of block damage too. So I know a lot of people would rank him at number 1, but I have to put him at number 3. Sorry guys. And moving along with Infinity War, we've got Captain America Infinity War. Now, I was kind of skeptical of him at first, and then I watched some video gameplay of him, and I realized, you know what? He's pretty good. I mean, he doesn't actually need to be duped to be good. It helps, but unnecessary. You can do a ton of damage, especially with his heavy, and when you build up those charges and fire that special too, oh my gosh, watch the damage roll. I mean, he's got great utility too. He's great offensively for war. He's a great utility champ for war. He doesn't have a lot of other things going for him, but overall, I place him at number 6 because I do think he's a great champ. He's definitely worth being in at number 6. So we can't talk about Cap America Infinity War without talking about my former nemesis, Iron Man Infinity War. I mean, this guy was the bane of everybody's existence when he first came out in war. I can't tell you how many wars when he first came out that I fought, and you would see at least 2, maybe more. I think one time I saw 5. So a lot of people got tripped up on him, but once you figured him out, he wasn't that bad. But you can still have a little trouble with him, especially with that unblockable special one. Every now and then you can get caught, including myself. He's a great war defender. He does have some offensive utility. I know some people like to use him in questing, especially Alliance Quest 2. So he does have some utility there. When it comes down to it, I placed him at rank 14, right in the middle. Now, Kabam released a doozy when Deadpool 2 came out, and that doozy was Miss Domino herself. She is off the chain when it comes to damage. She can get a ton of kills on defense. She's great offensively. She doesn't need to be awakened. She can do damage without physically touching you. Her special 2 with that crit bleed it can just wipe people out. That lucky and unlucky she's got, oh man. She is one of the best champs in the game. Is she the best? I don't think so. That's why I put her in at number 2. So of course, anytime you've got a couple really good ones, Kabam just drops the ball, and I am sorry for this. But Massacre, you just dropped the ball. I mean, he does do a lot of damage through blocks, but Corvus does that too. So, I mean, he's got some utility. He can incinerate. He can do some, he can inflict bleeds. Some people love him. I'm not one of those. One of my friends actually has him as a rank 5, and he just loves Massacre or Massacre so much. He's definitely not the worst, but he's not the best either. That's why I ranked him at number 22. Sorry, Wookie. So following Deadpool, we had the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And the first champ we get out of this movie is the Wasp herself. And a lot of people look at champs as defensively, whether they're good or bad. And, you know, I am kind of that way sometimes too. Defensively, she can kind of hurt you, especially if you get clipped with that special 2. She's got that auto evade with the shock attached to it. Right now, since people have learned to play her, she's not that great defensively, but she can be decent. She is a glass cannon, and that's one of her downfalls. She does a ton of damage. She's great offensively. She's got some good utility, but a lot of people, we really don't play her that much. And I always suggest, especially with new champs, that you watch their videos. Now, Wasp Special 2, like I said, off the chain. And when you get her synergized with Ghost and Ant-Man, she is a beast. And she actually helped make Ant-Man good. What? So for that, she comes in at number 15. And along with Wasp, we get Ghost. Now, oh, there is nothing that I can say about Ghost that people don't already know. She hits hard. She can survive a special 3. She can shrug off debuffs with her phasing. I mean, she is a game changer. I really don't think that Kabam realized how good she was, or is, I should say, when they released her. She can tackle almost any challenge thrown at her. The only downside I have to her is that there is definitely a learning curve when it comes to playing her. And her synergies, she doesn't really need them, but they help her out, especially her synergies with Wasp and the Hood. And I mean, let's talk about how good she makes Ant-Man. She actually makes him hit hard. Crazy, right? So, for these reasons, this is why I ranked Ghost at number 1. Best Champ 2018. So we had the best champ, and now we've got kind of a dud, and that is Red Skull. And when we first found out he was coming out, everyone was hyped up. I mean, we all thought he was going to be great, and it turns out he's a dud. He's not terrible. You do get power drain off of his special 3. I do like his special 3, the whole bow down to me thing. If you hit into his block, you get power drain. He can go unstoppable. I mean, he's not great. It was a kind of a letdown. He doesn't hit very hard. He's got a lot of armor. He's good if you take a lot of block damage, you know, but other than that, he's kind of useless. So I bring him in at number 23. And right along with Red Skull, we've got Heimdall. And a lot of people were so excited about Heimdall too. They were thinking he was going to be great. I pulled him as a 5-star, and everyone was like, take him up, take him up. And one guy was like, don't take him up. And I am so glad I listened to him, because other than synergies, he's got great synergies. That's really all he's got going for him. He's super underwhelming, and it's so disappointing because he had the potential to be so great, and he's just so not great. He doesn't hit hard. I mean, he's got an unblockable special too. That's really it. Number 24 for you, Heimdall. Sorry, not sorry. Alright, now, the 18th champ that came into the game was, kind of a game changer for a lot of people, because on defense, when awakened, and a high sig level, oh man, can he wreck you, and that is the Rock himself, Korg. He's one of the first characters that we come across where when you came up against him in war, you had to change your masteries. How crazy is that? So, but on offense and questing, pretty much useless. Really, the only good use for him is as a defender. And like I said before, a lot of people rank champs on, you know, how good they are, either offensively or defensively. I'm an offensive one. So for me, this doesn't put him in the higher level. It puts him at spot number 19. So then Kabam released the 2 mutant champs, and the first one we got was Omega Red. And this character, where I rank him, I feel like he is well deserved in this list. He benefits from suicides like Corvus does so much. He's got a ton of utility. His regen he gets is great. He's got some cool little things like his little death field, and his mechanics. I think his animations are great, and I just overall I think Omega Red is a great character, and for me that placed him at number 7. Now with Omega Red, we get my pretty Emma Frost, and this is another really good champ. I mean, when she's in her diamond form, she's basically everything immune except for armor break. And when she goes from her telepath form to her diamond form, you know, she can shrug off debuffs. She can do a ton of damage when you build up her prowess charges. I think overall she's a great champ. A lot of people thought she was going to be great for defense, including myself. Turns out, not so much. She is kind of decent in certain scenarios offensively, and she's great for questing, especially in Variant. She has been my go-to girl in Chapter 1 of Variant, and that's why she falls at number 8. She's still my pretty, though. The next champ we've got is kind of an interesting one, and that is Symbiote Supreme. He's kind of like a hyped up Doctor Strange. He's another champ that I was kind of like, I wonder how he's gonna be. And then I saw gameplay and I was like, oh man, he's pretty cool. He is a great character, and it was so good for us, for Kabam, to release a Mystic champ. We hadn't had a Mystic champ for so long, and he does great damage. I think he is very good offensively. He is great in questing, and I think he's a cool character. He looks cool. Those bleeds he get is awesome. His Nullify is great. Overall, I think he is a really good champ, and that is why I place him at number 10. Now, the next champ, I don't think a lot of people are going to like where I rank him, but that's okay. Hey, you're allowed to. And that is Venom the Duck. I mean, how goofy looking is this guy? He's just like crazy. A lot of people, including myself, were just like, what is this guy? Really? The Duck? You guys, kabam, you enhanced the Duck? But turns out he is really good for questing, because you can get these buffs, right? And then when you throw your special, if it's a buff that you want and you throw your special, you keep that buff and take it on to the next fight. So Venom the Duck can become a completely different champ from when you entered the quest until you exit the quest. He can go from being highly offensively, doing a ton of damage, to being highly defensively or regenning. It just all depends on what you want from him. And I think that is really cool, and that is why I place him at number 16 on the list. Alright, now we're getting towards the end of the year, and so there's only a few champs left, and the next champ that we run across is the champion himself, and we all know how much of a pain in the butt this guy was in that monthly event quest. But overall, he's kind of a letdown. He's not great offensively, and defensively, really the only time he is okay is when he is the boss. So, I mean, where does that leave him? I mean, he can be kind of a pain in the butt to fight, but he's not hard to fight. He can go unstoppable, and he does get, you know, I feel like he was a big letdown, so that's why I placed him at number 20. He's not one of the best defenders. There are plenty of other better ones out there. So with the champ came Aegon, and I think Aegon is going to be very useful in the coming months and the coming content, aka Act 6. I think he looks cool, his little one arm that he's got going on, and he can hit like a truck. I mean, I don't know, maybe we need to start calling Star-Lord the poor man's Aegon. I don't know. You can carry over a portion of your combo, which makes him great for not only questing, but war as well offensively. Labyrinth of Legends, let's talk about that. How hard could you hit by the end of one of those fights? I think he's great. I think he's going to have, like I said before, a ton of utility with the upcoming content. I think he's going to be so valuable. And so I think his slot might change if I do another video ranking champs, because I put him in at number 5, but it could change. And so when you've got one on top, you've got one on the bottom. And that one on the bottom is Night Thrasher. He's just so meh to me. He's kind of like Massacre, in my opinion. I think their mechanics are very similar. That whole gadget thing, not really a fan of. I don't think it worked out great for Kabam. I don't think he's going to be useful in the upcoming content. I don't think he's useful in war. I don't think he's useful in Alliance Quest or AQ. The only thing I consider him maybe useful for is the synergy with Ghost Rider, and that's why he comes in at number 25. And this brings us to our last champ, and you guys all know who it is from the list, and it is Darkhawk. And Darkhawk comes in at number 13. The reason for this is there's not a lot of gameplay out there with him. As I was making this video, he's still really new in the contest. He might have a ton of potential. I'm not sure yet. He seems to do really good damage. He's got some cool animations. The whole thing where he basically becomes, when he's in stealth mode, like the Hood's invisibility mode, I think that's pretty cool. I think overall he could be a great character. I'm looking forward to seeing more gameplay of him and seeing how he actually is. Like with like with Aegon, this could change, and you know, this is where he lands right now at number 13. So that sums up my list, guys. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with it, and that's cool. If you don't, let me know. If you do agree with me, let me know. I think it's great that we can all have differing opinions on who's good in the game and who's not. This was just how I ranked the list of the 2018 champs. Like I said, it could change. I mean, with all the new content coming out and champs being released later, maybe I'll do a compilation video again like I did before of who are the best and who are the worst in each class now that we've got some more characters in it. It seems like Kabam never runs out of ideas for characters. It'll be interesting to see who we get in 2019. So let me know if you think I ranked some champs too high or some too low, or if I missed something about, you know, a champ that will make them great, or if you're like, Katie, what were you thinking? Let me know. I love hearing you guys' opinions on the champs. I think it's great. And hey, you guys might tell me something I didn't realize about a champ, and I am totally cool with that. I love learning new stuff. So like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe and to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks, guys. Bye.